Hello pals and gals, my name is GrannyAnn and you're watching GrannyAnn Creates. I hope you're all doing well. It's been a quick minute since I've last updated on my garden, and that's what I wanted to do today. I'm here in my garden right now. It's kind of smelly. I finally got my fertilizing in, and so far so good. Everything is growing great. The sun is hitting these guys real good, and it's been perfect for me. I'm so excited to show you guys how far I've come. I finally got a trellis for my biggest cucumbers, and fertilizing, neem oil, everything is starting to come together. So from here on out, it's just the rest of the season and getting little things here and there. So let's go ahead and jump into it, because as you always know, there's always something going on in the garden. Here we are in my container bed, and I figured I would just start with my favorite, as always, my twin set A cucumbers. They are doing great. Look at how big they're getting. Do you see that beautiful little flower right there? Beautiful. They are loving it. And now that I finally have them on this trellis that I created, I got these dowels from Lowe's, and I also got the string. I got it from our local Harbor Freight. It's just cheaper to buy some stuff there, so we went and checked, and I found some string that was used for construction sites, so I decided I would try and give it a try. Let me tell you real quick, the day that I decided to do this, I had intended for these dowels to be straight up and down, so I didn't want them to go to a V or an A shape that they are in now, but it ended up not working the way I was planning for it to work. The way that I decided to do it was, there are these beautiful little holes in my containers, perfectly spaced apart to both of my cucumbers. So I just decided that I would push them in there, try and shove them into the rocks that we have right here on the floor, and just try and get that rope to go all the way up it. It's about 6 feet tall, which is perfect for me. I think that these cucumbers are going to do great getting all the way up there. So what I did was I just went ahead and I drilled some holes about 1.5 inches apart from each other all the way up both dowels, and then I went ahead and just threaded the thread all the way through. I started over here, so I went across, and I pretty much just went up into the next one, up into the next one, up into the next one, all the way up. And because it got so tight, and because the poles weren't as stable as I was hoping they would be, they ended up closing into an A form. And that's okay with me now that I finally got past the whole making it, and all that frustration kind of washed away. I love the way that it looks, and I think that they're gonna do great on it. They both have enough space, and the thing that I love about it the most is this twin right here. He was having a really hard time because the sun would hit him more often than this one, so his leaves would get very frail in the afternoons, and ever since I got them up onto this trellis, that has not happened. They both have the same exact shade now, so they don't have to worry about it, and they're doing good. They're starting to vine up. If you can see, all their little tendrils are connecting to everything. Like, they're just connecting, and so I'm hoping that they're gonna start doing it by themselves soon. They're pretty long now. They're all the way down here, and they're coming all the way up. Both of them, they're starting to get to about the same size now. This one is just a little bit bigger, but yeah, so I'm hoping that they're gonna start catching it on their own and start growing up it on their own, because what I've been having to do is come in and pretty much just push them up, tuck them back into the strings, and try and get them to stay up so that they don't fall back down. And I think they're starting to get it. The best part about it is all of these little flower buds are starting to form again on them. Like I said, I did have some fertilizer that I put into the bed just a couple days ago. I know, laziness, but I'm hoping that it'll take off. It sure smells like it's gonna take off, so I'm hoping that it will. Over here, I have my little cucumbers. They're still not long enough to worry about getting another trellis, but I was thinking I would just go about it the same exact way that I did this. I have plenty of that construction rope left. It was really cheap. It costed me about $3.99 for the entire roll, like 100 feet of it. And then these dowels each were maybe, I want to say $2.29, $3. So I figured I would just do the same thing here. I have another loop there, and then I figured I would just loop it there, or figure out a hole for it. Maybe I can drill a hole if I want to, and I would just have another A-frame going up this side, so that on both walls I would have my cucumbers climbing up them. But my twin set bees, they're not ready yet, so I don't have to worry about them just yet. I did notice this yesterday. There's a little bite out of it, so I'm hoping I'm not going to have to start worrying about that too soon. I do have my neem oil, but on the short side of that, the neem oil is so concentrated that I need to mix it with water so that I don't kill these plants and so that I don't saturate them with unnecessary amounts of oil. So I'm waiting for a spray bottle now, of course, one thing after the other, but that's okay. But they're doing good. They got a few buff flowers on them. This one specifically, it had this one the other day, this little flower, and then they just keep shriveling up. It has a second one now down there, and this one I don't think I've seen any flowers come onto it just yet. Yeah, so this one's still yet to show us some flowers, but they're both growing beautifully. They're both doing great next to each other with their brothers, and as we're going, we might as well just move on over to the tomatoes. These puppies are getting pretty big now. They are doing splendid. This one is that plant that I had planted almost a month after the fact that I had 3 tomato plants going. He has taken off, just surpassing all the other plants. Very tall, as you can see. And yeah, these two right here, there's this one and then this little guy over here hiding under that cucumber leaf. I planted these. They were both in the same container, and I had them planted for maybe about a month before I planted this one and this guy right here. And like I said, this guy is just taking off. I think this was going to be a cherry tomato plant, but I think it's going to be a larger cherry tomato. That is what the seed brand was, and that's what it was called, so I'm guessing that's what it's going to be. These two, I'm thinking they are going to be regular sized tomatoes, so I don't know how much produce we'll get off them. Like I said, I got my fertilizing in, so I'm hoping that they're going to start taking off here pretty soon, and we will see some great growth, some good flowering, and hopefully at least a couple tomatoes. That would be awesome. But they're doing good. They don't have any kind of, well, I take that back, but they don't have too much damage done to them by insects or sun or anything like that. They don't have any water damage, any wind damage. They're doing good. So I love them. I love them so much. And I love the fact that you can see that these are 2 different types of tomatoes. This is a light colored leaf, and then this over here looks just a little bit darker. It doesn't look the same color as this guy. And even the leaves, they look a little bit rounder on this one compared to this one. These look a little bit sharper and more jagged. So I just think that's really interesting, and it's really good to know. And this poor guy, I feel so bad for him, because before I had the trellis, one of the twin A's, the twin set A's, was laying all over him, smashed him a couple times, and I felt so bad. So I've been trying to keep them away from him, because poor baby, he has been taking the brunt of all of the all of the force that these 2 plants have been putting down on him. So otherwise, he's doing good. So proud of that. And like I said, we're just waiting to see whether or not these guys are going to start flowering. While we're on the topic of damage, these corns, holy moly mackerel, are getting so big. So big. They are so big to the point that a lot of their leaves are snapping into the middle of the stem, so they're drooping a lot more. I'm having that problem with quite a few of them. I know a lot of them got broken because of the day that I was putting that trellis up. I was kind of in their way, so some of it was my fault. Other ones I'm noticing, like this guy wasn't like this. This guy wasn't like this. Pretty much these 2 front plants didn't have as bad damage as this middle guy right here, the big papa of the whole entire group. There's 5 in here, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're doing good. The sun hasn't affected them too much. The wind is the one that I'm having problems with. I did mention that I do need to add more soil. As you can see, like this one right here, it's very lean to the side. It could be straighter. And so I was thinking I would just add soil to this half of the bed and just try and get it to go at least like right here. and just like another 2-3 inches on top of the soil that I already have. Plus, since I put the fertilizer down, I thought it would just be a good plan to do, and I do have more soil, so they're doing good. But those are the little things I noticed. The wind has been such a make or break with these two in the front. Every time it gets windy, I can see from my window that these are just coming forward, and it scares me some days. I feel like they're just gonna all start leaning to the side too much for me to bear, and I'm gonna have to start dealing with it. But on the bright side, they are almost as tall as the fence right here. Isn't that amazing? I didn't expect them to grow as fast as they did. And I'm just so proud that I get to watch it happen. I get to see how big they're getting. And nothing yet with the bulbs, but it's really cool. I'm glad that all of the neighbors and everyone that passes by, they're gonna start being able to see the plants going on in here. It's really exciting. Right here is my beautiful potato plant. Look at that. I remember when I planted this, you guys got to see it. You got to see all of those little buds coming up off of that potato. Such a variety of them, and it was just amazing to see. And I planted that potato whole. I ended up throwing it around right here, whole potato, all the stems coming up to about right there. And we have a whole little forest going on top now, and they grew fast. They grew super fast, and they were not what I was expecting. This kind of leaf texture was the complete opposite of what I was expecting. A lot of the potato plants that I've seen, and sweet potato plants, it looks like the leaves are so big and just so full and voluptuous, but these ones are tiny and they look like little trees. And I love that on the inside here, it just looks like a whole forest of plants. It's just its own little living organism, and I love that. So I did notice that as the days are getting hotter and the sun is shining more and just beaming down on them, the leaves have been getting a little bit softer in texture, and I don't think that's a bad thing. They have been doing good. I haven't been noticing any kind of damage done to them to the point that they don't feel like they're gonna sustain for the rest of the day, or that I have to feel worried about any of them getting killed throughout the day. So that's good. And they do get shade for a good portion of the day before they actually start wilting just a little bit. We don't have any kind of bug problems with these ones yet. Hopefully we won't. I did put some fertilizer on them too, just to see what would happen, and so far so good. None of the plant has died or shown me that they did not like that I fertilized them. And if anything, they're looking even more green and more busheled than prior days. So very proud of that. I can't imagine what is going on in here, and you can't even see. That's the amazing part about it, is you don't know what's going on in there until you know. And I'm so excited to see. I can't wait to know how many potatoes we get and if we get any. And it's just a fun experiment. I loved it, and I was so proud that I ended up doing it. Over here, I ended up getting a watermelon the other day, and I found a couple seeds in it. So me being very excited and enthusiastic to find some seeds out of a watermelon rather than having them in a package, I had to plant them. There was only 2, so I had to do it. And I know I said I wouldn't use containers that were hard to get my plants out of ever again, but I couldn't help it, because I don't know if they're gonna end up coming into fruition. So I just figured, you know what, I'm just gonna plant them. I have some dirt right here. We're doing it. So it's been a couple days. Haven't seen anything yet, so I'm looking forward to that. But since we are all in excitement about melons and the cantaloupe families, here are some cantaloupes. I decided to try and see if I could germinate the cantaloupe seeds. I just wanted to see, because I had dried them out and I hadn't used them, and I was kind of on the fence about it. I said that I wanted to do it, and so I decided what I would do was I would germinate them, but I would do it in a plastic bag, like one of those bean experiments, and it worked perfectly. Pretty much all of the seeds sprouted. All of them had little ones. There were really big ones and there were really small ones. So I wanted to try them all and try and control them and see how it would work. So right here are my little strawberry holders that I had collected when I got a thing of strawberries from my partner's mother. And these ones contained the biggest the biggest germinated seeds. So I decided I would put them in here since they had just a little more space than the other ones. And sure enough, this guy was the first to pop out. He still has the seed wrapped around his leaves. If you can see that, I hope you can. But yeah, so this guy was the first to pop out. I'm still letting that seed fall off of him. I'm pretty sure this one right there, if you can see, is getting a seed pop out. So I'm hoping that this one's going to come out here pretty soon. I need to throw some more water in this dish so that they can soak it up. But over here in these 6 cups, I did do a little more of an experiment. So all the ones with the lettuce, these ones were the medium germinated stems, and then all the ones with the onions were the ones that were super tiny. They didn't have very much coming out of them, and I still wanted to plant them just to see if they would end up germinating into the soil, and they were the first to pop up alongside this one. So yeah, they were the first to pop up. This guy is a little bit wonky, but that's okay. And I kind of just threw that, excuse me. But yeah, they ended up doing great. And look at that. Look at those leaves. Aren't those so cute? I'm so excited. And I have right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. The other day I only had 4, so 2 more popped up. And if this one right here is coming up with a seed like I think it is, that means 7, and only 2 of them didn't survive. So one of the biggest germinated seeds didn't survive if it's not going to come up, and then one of the smallest seeds didn't come up, which is perfectly fine by me. I don't know if I want to keep all of these to myself. I think, like I said, I might give a couple to my friends and then another couple to my family. Just depends on whether they're going to want them after all or not. I planned on getting them started for them so that they could just plant them straight into the floor and then go from there. They didn't have to start with the seed. They didn't have to worry about messing up and forgetting to water them and just not having all of the time to do it. So I figured I would just give them a head start, get them going, and then bring them to them and hope for the best that they would take care of them. Okay, now to the problem child, to my bad mama jamma, the one I have been having lots of fun with. These are my jalapenos right here, and or jalapeno bell pepper hybrids. I have been having such a bug issue with these guys. Such a bad bug issue. Look at that. That is insane. That, like, disbelief on my end. Like, these are the size of my palm. And whatever bug is coming in here, they are eating the crap out of my leaves. Excuse my language, but they are just doing a number on these poor jalapenos. And because I just got my neem oil and because I had waited so long to order it and to actually get the spray on there, these poor guys, every plant has just bites taken out of it, and I feel so bad, and it's so sad for me because I can't figure out. Oh my goodness. See, I'm noticing a couple of these are like just over the morning time. So where is it? Where did it just go? Well, one of those leaves was just completely eaten off, so that's good to know. Here it is, completely eaten off from the stem. Like, that bug just doesn't care about this plant. But yeah, so a lot of the plants are getting eaten down. A lot of the leaves on all of the plants have had problems and issues with it, so I need to get my neem oil on there very soon because holy moly, that is so crazy. Like, at first it started out like this, just a bite here, a bite there, and then it turned into that one I just showed you where they're like half eaten, half gone. And yeah, so I did put some diatomaceous earth down. I had that come to me before I actually got my plants, or excuse me, before I actually got my neem oil. So I did put some diatomaceous earth down, and obviously that didn't really help. Whatever this bug is, they are prone to diatomaceous earth. So I'm hoping that this neem oil will be the savior and we won't have to worry about it anymore. But otherwise, they're growing good. They're way over the pot now. They're doing good. They still have sprouts coming up, but some of these poor guys, the darn bugs are getting to them before they can actually grow their leaves out. But like I said, after I get that neem oil on there, I'm hoping for the best, and I'm praying that they're going to suffice and they're going to come through and we're not going to have that problem anymore. So I haven't seen any flowering on these ones yet either. And yeah, this one right here I just want to show you real quick, because this one is a completely different kind of plant from the rest of this little bushel of stems, and I just think it's really cool. It's been my favorite one since we started the jalapenos. It's so different, so unique, and I can't tell if it's a bell pepper by itself or if we really did it and it's a bell pepper hybrid. Like, look at that. Amazing. The bug, whatever this guy eating the jalapeno plants, hates this one. He or she, whatever it is they leave it alone. They do not mess with it. Every leaf is still intact. I haven't seen any bites, and they don't mess with it. So I don't know if it is a bell pepper, and from there, if it is, I don't know what bug could be so in love with these jalapeno plants that they feel the need to come and eat the leaves so hectically, but something that we have to figure out. So that is the issue for me today. It's been an issue since they've started growing pretty large, and like I said, hopefully that neem oil gets her done, because insane. Can't believe it. Love them, but holy moly mackerel. Don't want to kill any bugs, but I will if I can save my babies. I almost forgot to show my succulent babies. What the heck? I would never forget you two, but look at this. They're doing great again. They are coming back out. They aren't doing their little rose budding thing where they just kind of shrivel into like a rose bulb. So that's really good to know. I have been able to shade them with the potato plant, and they are loving it. I think they just don't like the heat as much as I was hoping they would. I thought succulents, or at least these guys, would be a little more prone to the heat and just do better in it, but maybe because they were houseplants for so long, they're just like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. You have to acclimate us and maybe we'll give you a shot. But don't you just love that? Look at, they're two different little, I don't know if they're two different types per se, but they are for sure two different colors, and I love that. This one's like a darker green, kind of like a reddish tint to it, and then this one's a beautiful light color with a little pinkish tint to it, and I love that. They have changed color since I put them outside. They used to not be this color. This one right here used to be very, very dark green, no tint to it, and this one was very, very light green, and that might be because of the sun light that they were getting. But I love the fact that they're changing color, and I think it's so cool, and I think it's amazing how far they've come. And after so many times of propagating and so many times of having to cut them out and put them back in and replant and just do it over and over and over again, I'm surprised that I was able to manage to keep them. So I'm so proud. I'm so happy that they ended up staying with me. I was afraid that they were both going to die and they were just going to give out and no more succulents for me, but they're good. I did lose one of the three, which makes me really sad. That third one was my favorite one out of the three, I can't lie. I just really liked the way that it was shaped. It had a different form to it, and it was just more of a bulbier, rounded kind of leaf petal rather than these straighter up in the air leaf petals. But it's perfectly fine. I'm so glad that these two stayed alive, and I'm so glad that they're doing good again, and they're growing. So that's important, and that's great. Well, that about wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this tour, and I hope you got to see the growth going on in my garden. It's amazing. I'm loving the greenery, and I love coming out every day and seeing the new growth and just seeing how well they're doing and how well they're acclimating to the bed and just being out here in the sun and being used to it now. So thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram at GrannyAnn Creates. Please consider subscribing to my channel, like this video, and get yourself set up with notifications so that you will get notifications when I post new content. And you guys have a beautiful day and be safe. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.